Hello world, it's me, Code Eric. I'm back here to give you a quick update with this project I'm working on called Zerv, this app that I'm building that will hopefully be an awesome startup. So this is really more of a dev update so that you can hear what I've been up to for the past week or two. I should be posting videos more often than this, but I'm still getting the hang of it. And I want to talk about focus. Yesterday had this really great opportunity to define my startup. Sean Wang posted on Twitter and kind of encouraged me to frame the startup in a certain format, which I thought was helpful because first it focuses on your company's mission and vision and why you think the world can be different. And this is what I think Zerv is all about, is about empowering people to have control over the software they use in their life, the full stack software, so mobile apps as well as web apps. Zerv can help connect users with their actual software. So this is the market that I'm kind of thinking about right now, is kind of framing around who we're selling to and whose problem we're solving. The market is like what companies are being targeted, and the users are kind of who's getting the value here. And then there are some other sort of further breakdowns about defining what the product is, like what the product delivers, and also why Zerv, or why our startup is going to be the thing that can do better, that can win. So the product that I think is the thing that I should be focusing on is making sure that people at a software company have direct access to their app to edit the configuration, edit the content inside of their app, rather than having to go through technical people. I want to give the customers direct control over their app. Okay, and now we've got to decide why Zerv is special, why we're different from every other content management solution or every other low-code type system out there. And I think what most low-code or no-code systems fall flat on is they fall flat on their integration story. And they're usually closed source, so that you can't really afford them, or you don't know if you're going to be able to continue affording them. So I think it's really critical that Zerv is open source, so that way people have access to it and it's effectively free for them. And there's lots of other ways that we can make money. And it also needs to be dev friendly. It needs to be really easy for developers to integrate Zerv into their application to start getting value out of it and start allowing the non-technical people at their company to be able to edit their configuration and edit their content. So that's been like a quick exercise about how I see Zerv. And now the question is, like, what have I been focusing on a practical level? And boy, let me tell you, as an entrepreneur, finding focus is the hardest thing I do on a day-to-day basis. Because I'm extremely excited about this product, and I'm extremely excited about this large vision for the product, about where it could be useful in the future. And I've been super distracted building all sorts of different random features. So I do want to tell you about all this cool stuff that I've been building. I've been kind of a little distracted recently. I've been super distracted building all sorts of features on Zerv that are not delivering the real value right now. And I want to skip over that stuff and mention that I've been spending a little bit of time working on cool no-code features. Some of it we're going to see here, but mostly I've been tinkering with the ability to control OBS through Zerv, so that inside of the Zerv app, I have the ability to kind of change scenes in OBS, which is how I'm recording these videos, and also to toggle recording. And I want to integrate my entire recording workflow, and I want to use Zerv as like the platform for doing that, so that I'm controlling this recording workflow through Zerv. But that's not what the product needs right now, even though that's what I need. So I'm constantly tempted to use Zerv to build features for myself rather than focusing on the customers. So I'm going to stop focusing on this no-code stuff. I think no-code is definitely where we're going. I'm going to be doing amazing stuff, with Zerv in the low-code space. But for now, I need to focus on the content management, on the configuration management. And the things that are necessary to get out the door. So another thing that's not necessary to get out the door that I've been thinking about is rich text input. Specifically, like the content editing inside of a mobile app. This is a technical challenge. Like, this is something that React Native does not support very well, and it's freaking me out because I want Zerv to be able to handle arbitrary text input. I want us to be able to put in notes into the Zerv app and format them like any other sort of note app. But this is a total distraction. I really should not have spent time looking into this because I'm trying to figure out how to do rich text editing inside of React Native. And that's a waste of my time. I shouldn't be thinking about that. So what actually do I need to focus on in order to get Zerv out the door and useful for people? Well, one of the big things that Zerv needs to be a service in the public that people can actually use is an authentication system. So that is what my focus is, and I want to demo the authentication system that I've been working on, and we can talk later about all of the decisions that went into it and some of the controversial decisions of even doing my own authentication system. That's usually not recommended, but I've been building a simple authentication system for Zerv, and I want to show you what that's looking like so far. Okay, so this is the Zerv mobile app. It's connected to a test server, and here's the source code for that test server. Now, a few things have changed, but a lot of the spirit behind what was here before is now much stronger. So here we can see on the server side, we are defining a store, and we are setting that up inside of our main server, inside of the root of our server. And here it's called store, and now inside of our app, we have access to our store. And this has access to the data that we've been saving in the past. And of course, we're accessing it through the app, but in theory, all of this can also be accessed through just the web API. So here's Insomnia, and I'm able to query on the local server, and I can access the store, and I can access all of the data inside of the store/state. And this is the same stuff that shows up inside of the app. Now, on the server, we don't want anyone to access this store. We want to have an authentication system in between here and the store. Because in theory, we can put other things here. We can even put email. So now on the mobile app, we can see that there's this email functionality where anyone who has access to the server can send emails. We don't necessarily want that. We're going to need the email for the authentication system. But we want to try protecting some of the stuff on the server. We don't want anyone to be able to edit the data. We don't want anyone to be able to edit the email. So let's implement a new thing here called Auth. Okay, so create Auth takes a few arguments. The first thing it needs is the strategies that it's going to have in order to log in. So here we're allowing users to log in via phone with SMS-based login or via email with an email-based login. So this is the actual module that's able to send text messages, and this is the module that's able to send emails. And now we're going to be giving that to the authentication system because, of course, our authenticator needs to be able to blast off emails to validate our users. We also need to give the authentication system files so that it can save its own data. So here I'm going to create something called auth files. And this is an abstraction that already existed. It's just called create system files. And this gives a Z interface for the files that the auth container is going to be using. And now for the good stuff. Now we're going to specify a function that will return the content inside of the authenticated section. So here, for example, we will put access to the store because we want to make sure that the users who are logged in have access to the store, but not necessarily the users who are logged out. So this is a simple implementation of what it's actually like to use the authentication system from the server side. And let's see what it looks like on the client now. Okay, so we've specified that auth is here, and we tap into it, and it's giving us our different ways to authenticate. Here I'm going to say that I want an email, and here I will put in an email address. Got this temporary email thing here. I'll put in the email address, send a code. So this is going through the SendGrid API. It should have now sent the code to the email. Oh, it makes a little noise. And here's the code. I'm going to copy this into the simulator. It's not very fancy yet, okay, and now we're logged in and we can see the store that we had set up inside of our code. So only now users who are logged in have access to the store and all of the data inside and have the ability to edit the data. So here we can have a new entry on our homepage where it's going to basically referring to the authentication system, or it's referring to the authentication landmark. And we're experiencing some other bugs here, and that's just a day in the life here. So this is bugged out. I'm not going to worry about it because I've been focusing on the authentication system, and it's coming along. Here, for example, we're logged in. We have access to the store, and we can also log out. So this has been a real splash crash intro to this authentication code that I've been working on. It's an important step, but there are still a lot of other important steps. Back to the focus. It's exciting that the authentication system is working a little bit. As I've been thinking about what the users really need, they need a web UI to access their data inside of their application. And of course, they need an API so that their developers can connect to their app. So now that authentication is something that's kind of existing and I can kind of start moving past it, I need to start thinking about the web dashboard. All of this stuff that's inside of the mobile app, I need to make it work on the web. So that way you don't need a web app. You can just go onto the website from your computer to manage all of your application's data. So I think I've been kind of excited about the fact that it's a React Native app, and I've honestly been a little bit distracted in comparison to what I should have been doing, which is focusing on exactly what the user's workflow is going to be, because they're going to be most likely managing most of their content from the website. You know, the mobile app is a cherry on top, but I think the critical workflow is going to be people logging into the website, editing their own data, and then programmatically accessing that data through an API. So I'm going to be focusing on that part. I'm going to be focusing on the user story of allowing users to modify their own data through the website. So thanks for checking in. Clearly, I have a long way to go, and I really want to improve my communication style as well as continuing to work on this app and make as much progress as possible. So thanks for tuning in, and I can't wait to see you in the next video.